Minimalism. Minimalism was an art movement that developed in the United States in the late 1950s and that reached its peak in the mid to late 1960s. It's also called minimalistic art or ABC art because it focuses on basic elements. It grew out of the ideas expressed in the early 20th century by people like the Russian artist Kazimierz Malevich, who pioneered abstract art by painting non-representational pictures without a reference to the landscapes, people, and still life scenes found in the real world. Minimalism was also a reaction to the most prominent style of art pursued in the 1950s, which is the abstract expressionism, in which the art conveyed multiple meanings of intense emotions and ideas, sometimes created in spontaneous or unplanned ways. Abstract expressionists often use thick brushstrokes that were clearly done by hand. An example of abstract expressionism is Willem de Kooning's work Woman V, done in the early 1950s. It's aggressive, emotional, and almost violent in its brushstrokes and lines. By the late 1950s, some artists began rebelling against what they considered abstract expressionism's excesses. They headed in a completely opposite direction toward minimalist art. Minimalist artists sought to move away from the expressive characteristics of abstract expressionism as they felt those works to be too excessive and emotional, and that they detracted from the essence of art itself. Characteristics of minimalist art. Several important characteristics identify minimalist art. One of the most common is repetition, or creating multiple images of same shape, especially simple geometric forms like lines and squares. Artists repeat shapes and produce painting composed of vertical color blocks. Many works are extremely simple, pared down to the fewest possible lines or forms needed to paint the image. Areas are smooth and finished, devoid of obvious brushstrokes or hint of the artist's hand. Minimalist art focuses on things like geometry, line, and color. Early works tended to be monochromatic, limited to one color and related use. Another way to identify a minimalist painting is by looking for hard edge, precise borders between areas of color. There's no shading or subtle transition. Several important characteristics also identify what we won't find in minimalism. For example, it is not expressive. Instead, the artist removes all elements of biography or emotion. When you stand in front of a minimalist painting, you won't see big ideas, complex subjects, or social agendas. The paintings are about geometry and color. Minimalist art is art for art's sake, minus the emotion. Minimalist artworks. These artworks includes the paintings and sculptures that broke down traditional notions of art as they blurred the distinctions between the two. This minimalist art is called Di Fanoho by Frank Stella. A painter, sculptor, and printmaker, Frank Stella is considered to be one of the most influential living American artists. Di Fanoho was named after the official marching song of the Nazis, but appears to be meaningless with the exception of its title. In this painting, the lighter lines are in fact raw canvas that was left blank between its black stripes. This monochromatic work is one of the best-known works to challenge the abstract expressionist movement. The next one is Robert Morris, Untitled or the Mirrored Cubes. Untitled not only exemplified Robert Morris as a minimalist artist, but also a conceptual one. Walking around these boxes, viewers are forced to confront themselves in their reflections. It has been cited to invade a gallery space due to this nature involving the experience of art beyond the visual. Here are some more examples of minimalist artworks. That's all. Thank you for listening.